Priorities are water reuse, water quality, air quality, energy, and wildlife habitat. Now, SIG is a competitive grants program supporting development, testing, and research of conservation technologies, practices, systems, and approaches on private lands. Grantees must match the SIG investment at least 1-to-1. All U.S.-based non-federal entities and individuals are eligible to apply. SIG applications must be submitted through the grants.gov website by June the 29th. A webinar for potential applicants is actually going to be held on May the 13th. Now, more information on how to participate in the webinar and about the funding can be found on the NRCS website. For more information, just simply go to nrcs.usda.gov or contact your local NRCS field offices. But again, SIG grant proposals are being accepted through June the 29th.
Bite back at flies this season with ready-to-use Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide with IGR. Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide controls house flies, stable flies, horse flies, black flies, horn flies, and deer flies on cattle with just one application and zero withdrawal. And it's the first cattle insecticide pour-on product to include an insect growth regulator. Bite back with Cleanup 2 Pour-On Insecticide. See product label for complete product information, indications, and application instructions.
Randall Wiseman, Southeast AgNet.
Sunshine and patchy clouds for today with a high 89 to 92. Mainly clear through the night tonight, low 62 to 66. For tomorrow, a sunny day with a high 89 to 94. Then Tuesday night, it will be clear and moonlit, low 64 to 68. Partly sunny Wednesday with a shower or thunderstorm spots for the afternoon. Wednesday's high 86 to 90. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
Pals Ocala Auto Repair fixes all makes and models. Pals makes sure that your vehicle's engine, mechanical, and electrical components are healthy at all times. Pals team would much rather see you drive to their shop for a full checkup than be towed in for a complex repair. Give Pals a call today to schedule your next service appointment. 352-414-2984. What? A nationwide warranty, 36 months or 36,000 miles, whichever comes first? Pals looks forward to servicing you and servicing your vehicle. 352-414-2984.
How would you like to become more competitive, effective, and profitable in difficult times? For most of us, the answer is obviously yes. Wednesday morning at 9:05, Greg Kowalik, president of Rapid Deployment Solutions, will be Adam's guest to tell us how Rapid Deployment Solutions has helped Fortune 100 customers do just that through the application of innovative technology. It's software for the modern age. Again, that's Wednesday at 9:05 a.m. News you can use from the source, WOCA 1370 AM and 96.3 FM.
WOCA. Ocala.
And you're listening to AM Ocala Live, WOCA, the source, 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. We are now 6 minutes past the top of the 8 o'clock hour, and it's time for Life South Community Blood Centers. We've got Galen on the phone. Good morning, Galen.
Hey, how are you this morning, Adam? Good morning.
Not too bad, buddy. It's another beautiful morning, and the weekend was nice. And now that things are trying to open back up, it gives us some hope for next weekend too, with Mother's Day, that we can actually visit our mothers, as we see ourselves.
You could always visit them.
You could always visit them, right? Yeah, just got to wear a mask.
But dude, it could only be like a certain number of you at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But did you have a good weekend, my friend? It was a beautiful weather weekend.
Well, I went to Lowe's 4 times. So,
did you? Yeah.
My gosh, it was packed. And I did go to Sam's. Woo! I think everybody's just stir crazy at this point. So,
yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, Lowe's was more packed this weekend than when it was last weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that was possible. So
have they put measures in? Are they trying to follow guidelines too with the plexiglass and the markers on the ground for 6 feet apart and stuff?
Yeah, but not in the aisles. Not at the registers there are, but everywhere else kind of free range. But yeah, I mean, people are going about their life the best they can. So thankfully, 25%. I'll be curious how long people are willing to wait for a table at a restaurant today and this week.
Right.
So.
Right. And I guess this would be the first day to see those restaurants and stuff open up. Do you see tonight a lot of people trying to get out to dine out since they haven't in a while, or do you not see that maybe come until towards the end of the week where people's priorities of other things come into measure at the beginning, but then maybe next weekend for sure I'm gathering. And you like to think that it'd be less than or be back to something more normal, especially too with Mother's Day, because I know that's a big restaurant type holiday for people to eat out and stuff. I don't know if I see people earlier this week going out to dine, but maybe towards the end of the week. I don't know.
Well, Monday's probably not a huge restaurant night. I think the lunch crowd will be pretty massive today.
Yeah.
I really do. I think the lunch crowd will be really massive.
It might be, especially with the way the weather is. It's nice. It's warm out. I could see people thinking, well, if we take advantage of it, they have outdoor seating. That's available too, and they could probably do that. Yeah, we'll see. Again, it's kind of hard this weekend with how good the weather was, and I just think it's just like it has been. As much as I get here before the sun comes up and we talk COVID-19 for 4 hours at some aspect, and then I leave here and the sun's shining and it's bright and it's hard to believe world pandemic. And I almost feel that way the weekend went. It was like, oh, yeah, things are going to be opening back up on Monday. But with so many people out and about this past weekend, more than any, it just felt like it was back to somewhat normal anyway. I don't know.
Well, I guess it depended on what you were trying to accomplish.
That's true.
You know, I mean, normal is if your life's kind of regular. It's different normal for everyone. There's a lot of people who are still not able to go back to work. I think that's, when everything's open and we don't have to worry about the government coming in and arresting us for breaking ordinance that's anti-constitutional. So, did you hear that press conference by the mayor of Chicago?
No, I did not.
Basically saying that we will lock you up and we will charge you with a crime. And I was like, my gosh, how do you read that speech and think this is great?
Right.
I am really protecting people by, if there are more than 10 of you, I'm going to send you all to jail. How do you read that and go, this is fantastic?
Yeah, my goodness.
I don't know.
Especially,
it's terrible.
Especially, too, when you start to break down the logic. Just like I asked, are they marking it 6 feet apart when you're at the big box store there for home improvement? And, yeah, you're like they are at the registers, but when it's so busy, what does that mean down the aisle? It doesn't really matter. Hold up. It's kind of where we're getting at with these, in my opinion, where we're getting at with the masks and the gloves and just how they're being used and if they really matter. Now, some businesses requiring that you have a mask when you come in. But then again, I heard on national news, I think it was one of those big box ones that says you have to have it if you come in. But then again, if you have some kind of, I don't know, I can't remember now what it was, but if you have something where it says that you can't really wear the mask appropriately or you can't wear one due to something else, then it doesn't matter. So
yeah, I mean, if you think about it, like the mayor of Chicago said she was going to arrest you if you didn't wear a mask. Mm-hmm. And now we've gotten to the point where if you don't have a mask, you have to show your papers.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're at. I mean, let me see your papers.
Yeah.
But that's where there are many people who want us to be at that point where, have you got the right shot? Do you have the right mark? Have you been cleaned? And it's just, I can't stand it. I think it's tyrannous. So.
Yeah. And I think overall it's just becoming more illogical with how certain things go. So that's where we're at right now. I think Governor DeSantis is expecting to hold a press conference to make the notion of whether or not he'll relax the phase to be more of what was it 75% occupancy for businesses and restaurants, to see if that'll come to fruition this week. And then again, it's that same talk of like, does that really help? And where we're at with everything. I don't know. And is that, like you said, I think we talked about this last week a little bit, and I think you mentioned it. You probably nail on the head there with it's just a little act of CYA. Just cover your own rear end with putting this stuff or implementing this stuff. And it's really just, it's a facade rather than it is actually doing anything. So when that gets brought up, where's the logic? Just make it 100%. Just get us back to normal and then see where it goes. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, I completely agree. I didn't know he was having a press conference today. Is it today?
I thought it was. It's hard because one article brings it up and broadens it by saying it's sometime this week, and then at one point it says, let me see here. This was from the banner there. That was okay. So that was regarding COVID-19 Friday. That was Friday, and I guess it's sometime this week, not necessarily today. Not necessarily today to make that announcement. Sometime this week is what they say. So yeah, we'll see what'll happen there. I don't know. It's interesting, and I'd like to see where we're at by Friday with us beginning to talk about this and things, dissolving with the stay-at-home order, and see just exactly what happens this week and what changes. That by the weekend. No matter what's implemented, I don't see, with it being Mother's Day holiday and the weather being as good as it predicts, I really don't see a whole lot of that holding up. Do you?
Yeah. I think I think they will keep everything the way they want it to. I really believe that the politicians are enjoying this. The governors. The people who, think they're running a kingdom rather than voluntary statehood. I really think they're enjoying this power that they have and the attention they're getting every day, and the fact that they believe, and I honestly believe, if you ask Ron DeSantis, he believes he's saving lives.
Sure.
And now, I guess if you believe that, it's okay. And that he's responsible, probably is a better question, is responsible for those lives. And I'm of the belief that nobody is responsible for my life but me. It's up to me to take care of myself and my family, not anyone else's. Now, we're not talking about people running around killing people. We're talking about a virus that can be transported from one human being to another, and you not even know it, and they could be 15 feet away.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
but I believe they're loving this power that they're having, and I think that's also why he won't get reelected. We'll see.
Yeah.
And today is going to be packed.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go into a Publix or one of those big box stores and look at it and say, okay, we have really nipped this thing in the bud. No, we haven't, because all you're doing is having more people congregate in a smaller area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Now, just to move from this, one of the things I talked about this morning that I think it was because it was something else just to dwell on. But over the weekend, I don't know if you had seen it or your son had pointed it out, but there's been a big thing within the last few hours reported of these invasive giant hornets that have been spotted in the United States for the first time, as they're expecting these giant hornets, or as they've, quote, nicknamed them, murder hornets, to play a big part of messing up some of the ecosystem here with all the already rapid declining bee population. And I was going to ask you, did you hear about that this weekend?
I did not. I love bees. I like them. I don't think anybody really likes wasps and hornets because they will hurt you.
Yes.
So maybe they'll find some bird will start eating them, and then we'll be all right.
Yeah, hopefully. Now, with these, as they've
been talking about the insects rising up and killing us forever. Right? It seems like every other year there's a new bug that's just going to destroy us.
Yep. Now it says that these, for the first time, these Asian giant hornets have been spotted in the United States, specifically in the state of Washington, as they have said that these things, which are almost 2 inches long, they're the world's largest hornet. and they can
2
sting.
inches.
Yeah, they're huge. There was a picture of one on a guy's shirt to kind of give you the identifiable size. They're huge, and they actually been known to actually be able to kill a human if you're stung multiple times, whether you're allergic or not. And they've nicknamed them the murder hornets. But the worst part is, and the idea of them kind of decimating the ecosystem in a way, is what it does to bees and how they're destructive to them. As they said, within hours they can take out an entire bee colony here with just their how did it put it? Their bloodlust for protein, as they can. They're pretty much, they hunt and eat honeybees, which is a little heavy. So that's been brought up this weekend, and I thought that was a little interesting just to bring up, as there's just more turn the corner things to have the media impose a threat on you just to make you feel, just when you're feeling a little bit better, here's something else to kind of knock you down a peg.
Or maybe the government will put in a policy that you can't go outside because of the murder hornet.
Maybe
You know?
there's certain I
probably
could
next.
see. Yep. Now scientists don't know how these giant hornets native to Asia ended up in Washington State, but they can kind of sum it up to the logic of them being transported in international cargo, and they consider these to be native to the Asia area, and this time of year they start to come out of hibernation, and then by the middle of summer and fall they're at their most aggressive, which man,
They're over on the West Coast. Maybe they won't be able to cross the Rocky Mountains. You know?
Yeah, maybe.
You know, maybe they'll just stay over there. So kill those people.
And what's interesting about that too is just the fact that they're obviously from Asia, which was what stirred up a lot of the memes and social media comedy this weekend about them being threatening. But not only that, from Asia, not necessarily specifically mentioned to be from China, but from the Asian area, which is interesting. As much as a lot of people say is how many things can come from there that threaten the world. That's for sure. Kind of crazy.
Sure. Yeah.
And on another note, partner, is it's the idea of sports. And I haven't watched it yet, but I was going to ask you if you've tuned it in at all. Is the Michael Jordan Chicago Bulls Last Dance that they've been airing on ESPN? Have you guys been watching that?
I have. I haven't watched the 2 episodes that were on last night. I recorded them. I'll probably watch them over the next 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
The first 4 have been really good. I mean, it's probably been better for my son, who doesn't really know much about Michael Jordan other than
Right.
he just sells a lot of shoes. Having covered Jordan and growing up during that time, and he was larger than life. I haven't learned anything new yet.
Right.
So I really want to know how they handle the gambling. I kind of want to see if I make any of the clips, because I did cover him when he played for the Birmingham Barons when he came to Jacksonville and played the Suns.
Yeah.
So I want to see if I make the film. That would be cool. But you know, it's just been it's been good for him, because then he's like, we watched the first 2 episodes. He goes, "You never told me Jordan's this good." I'm like, "I told you he's the best player of all time." He was like, "Well, you didn't really say." I'm like, "I did. Trust me."
Was because he didn't have anything to see or compare it to. So was he just thinking that he was literally just a good LeBron James, or like a good Russell Westbrook or something? No, yeah. And
Right. Well, he thinks LeBron James is the greatest ever. And then, and the thing about all sports, it depends on which generation you really connect to. Because a lot of people think Kobe Bryant is like, you know, one of the greatest of all time, and I don't even have him in my barely in my top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so it just depends on when you started really watching basketball, and but that's what's great about those 30 for 30s on ESPN, is it gives you a taste of just how good some of these players from the past really were.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you brought up Kobe, he was full-fledged my generation of watching NBA basketball, but I never really thought of him that way. I just thought him as a really good basketball player, like I do a lot of the players in the NBA now. But Jordan, I think it was a lot of things that just. He was the greatest. Just the way he played basketball, his knowledge of it, and just what he could do. It's fascinating. And you're right. It's hard to explain to somebody who, like you said, to your son, who didn't really have the chance to watch him, right? So now you're going back and seeing this, and that's kind of neat that he's kind of pointing to you and saying, "Hey, man, I guess you were right. This guy is incredible," and he was. What do they have left? Was it the last 2 episodes, or they still have?
There's what, 9 or 10 episodes, so they have a few more. I really want them to cover, and I haven't watched the last 2, so
yeah.
I really want them to get into why he left the NBA, because that was you never really got a good conclusion. All you had was rumors about how David Stern said, "Look, I'm gonna suspend you for a year. Why don't you step aside for a year? Your father died. We could use that as an excuse."
Right.
Because there were rumors that Jordan was going to Vegas and losing $1 million a night.
Yeah.
Night for like 3 months, kind of a thing. Where he was I guess I should say he's gambling $1 million a night. He wasn't always losing, but gambling $1 million a night. Now the guy's worth almost $2 billion. I mean, he's loaded because he gets a piece of almost every shoe that Nike sells. He owns the Charlotte Hornets. So, he's incredibly wealthy, but he had a really, really, he liked to gamble. I don't know if it's a problem. It's not a problem if you can afford it, right?
Yeah, and if you win.
Sure, but he loved to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious how they cover that, and the Dream Team stuff I already know about.
Right.
I've seen there's been like 5 documentaries about it. I think they've documented every player going through the Dream Team now. I think they even did one with Christian Laettner and where his role was on that Dream Team.
Yeah.
The only college player. So yeah, I don't know.
They say Michael Jordan gambled on the plane. Didn't matter if it was big money games in the back of the plane or $1 for a hand of blackjack in the front of the plane. He gambled on silly connected games in the arena security. He gambled on golf course, and he gambled at the casinos hardcore. It says Jordan's on wagering big or small featured promptly in the episode of number 6 on The Last Dance, considering as they brought up a big part of that. And it was, quote, saying, "I'm too competitive. That's why I gamble," or something like that as the quote as to where. Well,
there could be something to that, right? He
Absolutely.
needs to have something on the line.
Absolutely.
He needs to have something on the line to keep his interest.
Yeah.
I understand it. Again, I don't care that he gambles. I want to know if that's why he left the game.
Right.
Because he owed somebody money, or they were worried about his image.
Right.
I do believe there's something to that.
Sure.
And he could have just been burned out. There could have been that. I want to know why, if he was forced to leave, or if he really did it on his own terms.
Yeah.
Well, because I know everything else. There's nothing else I don't know.
I like how you mentioned it. Do you think, I thought that for a little bit. I remember having that conversation with my dad. Do you think he was a little bit burned out? And maybe with the fall of everything kind of coming along that timeline, it was worth for him to just say, the heck with it?
No. You got to remember, after his 3rd championship, they were at the pinnacle of their game.
Yeah.
He may have been burned out. I just don't understand why he would step aside from the game.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't make any sense to me then. When he was in minor league baseball, one of the rules the press would make is you're not allowed to talk about the NBA.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you had to keep questions to baseball related.
Yep.
So, and that's all you could talk about.
Yeah. And that was always what I remember was a big part of the whole ordeal. Was his dad died. His dad always wanted him to be a baseball star, so he went to try a chance at professional baseball. That was always what, being younger, that was always just, why did Jordan retire? Oh, he wanted to play baseball to, appease his passed away father there about what he could do as a baseball player. And I always thought that was kind of goofy, but I never really questioned it because what I thought was that. But as I got older, I started to learn some of the other stuff. And like you said, it's a wonder if they'll actually kind of get a little bit more nitty gritty about what exactly that was. It's interesting, very interesting.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I talked to a lot of people and interviewed a lot of people on the air and off the air, and there are a lot of people who believe he could have been a Major League Baseball player. He wouldn't have been great, but he was so athletic. He could have done whatever he wanted to do. He could have, probably played football, and it's like LeBron. LeBron could do anything.
Yeah.
So, I've always made the joke that if I could get 6 guys from the NBA who are great athletes, then the United States could win the handball championship for the first time ever. That would be fun.
Yeah.
Right?
That's awesome.
There are so many sports we don't care about, we're terrible at.
Yep.
But I would love just to put like a dream team together, have them train for like a week, so that they have an understanding of the rules.
Right.
Then just go to some of these and just go, all right, here we go.
Yeah.
You get like a couple of wide receivers, a defensive back, some power forwards, some point guards, depending on the game, and you say, all right, we're going to go dominate.
Yep.
So you're telling me LeBron couldn't dominate in volleyball?
Right, with his size.
You know what I mean? No, with his sheer athleticism.
Vertical, yeah.
You're telling me you let me work with LeBron. He'd have to be committed to it.
Yeah.
I mean, I could be the coach of that team. And I have no idea about, and then you have somebody like Karch Karai sitting next to me giving me tips. But I think that would be great. And if I was president, I would probably do something like that. I'm like, we're not worried about the moon. We're not worried about the virus. We're worried about winning the gold medal in the handball at the Olympics. Can you imagine that?
Awesome. On that note, Galen, appreciate it, buddy. Have a good day at work, my friend. We'll chat at you tomorrow.
All right, be good.
You got it, buddy. WOCA, we're back after this.
Stay close as a country. We're not going to have a country left.
The virus outbreak has something new happening at the Supreme Court.
Starting today with a trademark dispute involving the travel service Booking.com, the Supreme Court will hold 10 arguments by telephone conference, including a landmark case involving President Trump's financial records. Not only will the arguments be conducted by telephone, the public for the first time will be able to listen in live as the cases are argued.
Fox's John Decker. America's listening to Fox News.
Here at Napa, we salute the frontliners going